Om. Om. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Shri Matre Namaha. Priyatma Bandhulara. So far we have come, I think, up to 59 sessions we completed. Today, 60th session, Zoom session. So we will start with the first question. Is there anything written in Vedas or Puranas or Gita against eating meat? Somebody has asked this question. So my answer is, God has given us humans intellect and also the free will to do anything as per our own volition. That means our choice. God is the greatest democrat. God does not force anybody to do anything, but he gives enough hints at arriving at the right direction and the right decision. God said in Sloka 12-13, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam, which means don't develop animosity towards any living creatures. God further said in 5-25 and 12-4, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, which means nurture the feeling of the well-being of all the living creatures. God has also further said, Nirvaira Sarva Bhuteshu in 11-55, which means don't have enmity towards any living creatures. What does all that mean? You don't get meat without killing the animals. God has not advocated killing of the animals. So you can conclude that what God wants you to do, to become meat eater or a pure vegetarian. Having told about the attitude we as humans have to display towards all the living creatures in this world. How can we advocate killing of animals? Further, while advocating the divine qualities in the sloka 16-2, God talked about ahimsa as one of the divine qualities. So how can you indulge in demonical qualities of killing animals? You can't get meat unless you kill the animals. And God didn't support killing of any animal in the Bhagavad Gita. So you can say that God does not support meat eating in the Bhagavad Gita. Next question. What is the explanation of the string theory in the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, Stephen Hawking has been acclaimed as one of the greatest exponents of the prediction of the nature and the God. Myself, as a scientist by profession, I had nurtured a lot of hopes on Stephen Hawking and his proposed string theory, that is, theory of everything, TOE. I read his books, apart from The Order Out of Chaos, written by Ilya Prigogine, the Nobel Prize winner of chemistry in 1977. But to my surprise, Stephen Hawking deeply disappointed everybody, including me. But notwithstanding the advocacy of anything by anybody, I myself found all answers to all the questions I had and which were baffling me earlier throughout my lifetime without any answers. Bhagavad Gita gave me full understanding, and when Bhagavad Gita was practiced in real life, that is my life, it gave me all the answers which were baffling me without answers for all my lifetime. I am grateful to the Bhagavad Gita and the God for my enlightenment. Lord Sri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Whatever exists is nothing but himself. He, that is God, is the cause of the appearance of the universe and all things in it. Everything of the universe is strung on him like clusters of gems on a string. That is given in Sloka 7-7. Sutre Manigana Iva. He, that is God, is the essence, substance, and substratum of everything, whether visible or invisible. Although everything is in him, yet he transcends everything as the actionless self. Prakriti or nature is made up of three gunas or qualities: Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. These three qualities are the gunas delude the soul, that is the individual self, and make it forget about its true nature, which is in reality one with God. This delusion, termed as Maya, can only be removed by the grace of the Lord, that is God Himself, as given in 7-14 of the Bhagavad Gita. The string theory of Bhagavad Gita, as propounded by Lord Sri Krishna, is as follows. God said in Sloka 7-7 of the Bhagavad Gita as under: Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya maisarvamidam protam sutre maniganayava. Meaning of the above sloka is, there is nothing whatsoever higher than me, O Arjuna. All this world is strung in me, that is God, just as clusters of gems are arranged on a string. So, that is what God has said. Now, commentary. When you look at the flower garland, you will see only the arrangement of flowers strung on a thread, which is normally invisible. Not even a single flower, however, can remain in its position without the support of the invisible thread. Similarly, the whole world is existing, apparently, based on the support being provided by the Lord Sri Krishna himself as God. This is analogous to string in the flower's garland. There is no other cause of the universe but me, that is God. I, that is God alone, am the cause of the universe. So this is the string theory of the Bhagavad Gita as given in Sloka 7-7, what you have referred to in your question. Haribo. Next question. Which chapter is the main teaching in the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, every chapter in the Bhagavad Gita is considered very important. Some important message is conveyed invariably in each and every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. However, Arjuna acknowledged that his moham and delusion disappeared only after Lord Sri Krishna completed preaching of the 10th chapter, that is Vibhuti Yogam of the Bhagavad Gita. So, one must study the Bhagavad Gita up to the 10th chapter. That is the minimum. You can say that up to 10th chapter, you get basic doubts in understanding of the Bhagavad Gita and its contents. But after studying the 10th chapter, you will get only advanced doubts and no more elementary doubts. So read Bhagavad Gita fully to understand its full text and to get immensely benefited. In other answers to some other questions, I have given what is taught in each of the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. You may also peruse those answers. Hariom. Next question. Who gives the Divya, the eyes of Sanjaya in Gita? My short answer is, Sanjaya was given the Divya Drishti by sage Vyasa. Long answer. When all negotiation efforts had failed to bring about a rapprochement between Pandavas and Kauravas, because of the untenable attitude taken by Duryodhana, war became inevitable, and Dhritarashtra was upset and deeply saddened. Sensing this, sage Vyasa appeared before the king Dhritarashtra and offered to give Divya Drishti to the king. However, the king declined the offer, saying he could not see the ghastly war scenes, and also he could not recognize who is whom, and further added that it is enough if that is Dhritarashtra was able to know the details of the war from time to time. At this instance, Sage Vyasa gifted the Divya Drishti to Sanjaya so that he could see the war proceedings on a continuous basis, that is, live viewing, and report the news to the king from time to time. So, based on the Divya Drishti presented to Sanjaya, the sage Vyasa, King Dhritarashtra had a live coverage of the war proceedings on all the 18 days of the Kurukshetra war. Harivu. In another question, somebody is asking, in Bhagavad Gita 4-13, Krishna says that he created different varnas on the basis of one's karma, that is activity, and guna, that is quality. How do I know what varna I belong to? This is the question somebody is asking. My answer is, God said in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnam maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. It is Loka 4-13. That means, based on the classification of categories of nature of karma, that is Sama and Dama, based classification, I have categorized the people into 4 categories, namely Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vyasa, Vaishya, and Sudra. To understand the Sama, Dama qualities, you read chapter 14, that is Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogam, and chapter 17, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yogam of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, next question is how to know to what category you belong. To understand this, you read slokas 18-41, 18-42, 18-43, and 18-44 of the Bhagavad Gita, which are given as under. All are bound by, all means all the public are bound by 3 gunas. God said, there is no being on earth or again in heaven among the gods that is liberated from the 3 qualities, gunas, born of nature, that is Prakriti. That means Prakriti is giving birth to these gunas, and nobody is relieved from these 3 gunas, whether he or she is on earth or in heaven. The sloka says, 18-41, Brahmana Kshatriya Visham Sudranam Cha Parantapa Karmani Pravibhaktani Swabhava Prabhavair Gunaihi. The meaning is, of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, as also the Sudras, O Arjuna, the duties are distributed according to the qualities born of their own nature. Traits of Brahmins, that is given in Sloka 18-42, Samodamas tapaschautam Shantirajyavamevacha Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam. That is 18-42. Meaning is serenity, self-restraint, austerity, purity, forgiveness, and also uprightness, knowledge, realization, and belief in God are the duties of the Brahmanas, born of their own nature. Traits of Kshatriyas, that is given in Sloka 18-43, Shauryam Tejo Dhritirdraksham Yuddhe Chapya Palajanam Dhanam Ishvara Bhavasya Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam. The meaning of that is prowess, splendor, firmness, dexterity, and also not fleeing from battle, generosity, and lordliness are the duties of Kshatriyas, born of their own nature. Next sloka, 18-44, is given in traits of Vaishyas and Sudras. Krishi Goraksha Vanijam Vaishyam Karma Subhavajam. Paricharyatmakam Karma Sudrasyapi Subhavajam. That is 18-44. Its meaning is agriculture, cattle rearing, and trade are the duties of the Vaishya, that is merchant class, born of their own nature, and action consisting of service is the duty of the Sudra, that is servant class, born of their own nature. When a man does his duties rightly according to his order of life, as given above, his heart gets purified and he goes to heaven. Depending on the type of traits and gunas you possess and the activities you are engaged in your life, you can broadly know to which category of the Varna system you belong. Next question. Somebody is asking, should we have to chant the Bhagavad Gita slokas while worshipping Krishna? If yes, then which sloka should be chanted? My answer is, Lord Sri Krishna is none other than Lord Sri Mahavishnu, the God Almighty. So while worshipping him, you can chant the following sloka, that is 18-66 from the Bhagavad Gita. God said, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam charanam vraja ahantva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masucha. 18-66. Meaning of the above sloka is, abandoning all duties, take refuge in me alone. I will liberate thee from all sins. Grieve not. That is sloka 18-66. Meaning, this is the promise God made in the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter, just before winding up the preachings of the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Even though God told to Arjuna, who was instrumental for the preachings of the Bhagavad Gita, God conveyed this promise to the whole world and humanity. If you as a devotee do that with full devotion, he, that is God, would absolve you from all the sins and calamities. To have absolute faith in God is essential to derive the full advantage of the promise God made in the sloka 18-66 of the Bhagavad Gita. Hari Om. Next question. What is the basic difference between intelligence and mind as per Srimad Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, there is a three-tiered system in human beings. Senses are confined to the duties entrusted to them. For example, eye can only see, ear can only hear, but it needs instructions from the mind. Unless instructed by mind, eye or ear or nose or mouth or skin would not do anything. While mind is in a position to give the instruction, it cannot also do on its own. The final decision has to come from the intellect. So the decision-making power is with the intellect, while mind directs the movements based on the decision of the intellect. For example, a mango fruit has dropped off the mango tree, let us say. The ears would hear the sound of dropping of mango, and the same is conveyed to the mind. Mind tells the legs to go and get it. Legs walk to the tree and inform the mind of completion of walking up to the mango tree. The mind then instructs the eyes to locate the place where the fallen mango is lying. Eyes spot the mango and inform the mind. Mind then instructs the hands to pick up the mango. Hands pick up the mango and inform the mind. Then mind instructs the legs to come back. Thus the whole individual events and activities are coordinated by the mind and the task is accomplished. However, it is the intellect which processes all the individual activities of each of the limb of the body as coordinated by the mind. But decision power lies with the intellect. Even though mind orders the human senses to perform their individual function, it is the intellect which decides whether a given activity has to be done or not. For example, in spite of the mind asking the legs and hands to go and pick up the mango, if the intellect orders that you should not pick up the mango, the legs and hands would not be able to do the job ordered by the mind. I hope I have made the point clear in distinguishing the difference between the mind and the intellect. Hari Om. Next question. What does Bhagavad Gita not answer? My answer is, To the best of my knowledge, Bhagavad Gita provides answers to all questions you can think of in this world. I have not found any question from any walk of the life for which answers are not provided in the Bhagavad Gita. God himself has said as follows, Gita me ham tishtami, Gita me chottamam gruham, Gita ajnanam upasritya trin lokan palayam yaham. The meaning of the above sloka is as follows. I am sitting in the Gita. Gita is my best abode. Based on the knowledge embedded in the Bhagavad Gita, I am ruling all the three worlds. And God himself is able to rule all the three worlds. Based on the knowledge embedded in the Bhagavad Gita, there are no gray areas whatsoever not dealt in the Bhagavad Gita. And there are no other problem areas without solutions or answers from Bhagavad Gita. God is able to rule the universe, which is much bigger than the earth on which we are living. To appreciate this, have a look at how big is the universe. Now, about the universe, I am giving the answer provided by some other person, Arthur A.B., underwater photographer and scuba master at National Geographic Institute. How big is the universe? This is the question. He is giving the answer. It is hard for the human mind to conceive a true picture of the size of the universe. We not only don't know how big it is, but it is hard for us to even imagine how big it might be. If we start from Earth and move out, we will see why this is so. Earth is part of the solar system, but a very tiny part of it. The solar system consists of the sun, the planets that revolve around it, the asteroids, which are tiny planets, and the meteors. Now, the whole solar system of ours is only a tiny part of another much bigger system called a galaxy. A galaxy is made up of many millions of stars, many of which may be much larger than our sun, and they may have solar systems of their own. So the stars we see in our galaxy, which we call the Milky Way, are all suns. They are all so far away that distances are measured in light years instead of in miles. Light travels about 6 into 10 to the power of 12 miles in a year. The bright star nearest to the Earth is Alpha Centauri. Do you know how far away it is? 25 into 10 to the power of 12 miles. But you are still only talking about our own galaxy. This is believed to be about 1 lakh light years in width. This means 1 lakh times 6 into 10 to the power of 12 miles. And our galaxy is only a tiny part of a still larger system. There are probably billions of galaxies out beyond the Milky Way. And perhaps all these galaxies put together are still only a part of some larger system. So you see why it is impossible for us to have an idea of the size of the universe. Incidentally, it is believed by scientists that the universe is expanding. This means that every few billion years, two galaxies will find themselves twice as far apart as they were before. So, my dear friends, see how big is the universe, and God is managing this universe without any problem. And Bhagavad Gita gives us all the solutions that we can manage on the earth. Next question. Have you ever experienced this Bhagavad Gita saying, Ananya Chintayanto Mam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham in your life? Somebody has asked this question. My answer is, this is given in Shloka 9-22 from the Bhagavad Gita, which is as under. God said, Ananya Chintayanto Mam Yejana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. That is 9-22. Meaning of the above sloka is, to those men who worship me, that is God, alone, thinking of no other, of those ever united, I secure what is not already possessed, that is yogam, and preserve what they already possess, that is kshevam, that is Sloka 9-22. Our life, that is my life and my family's life, is filled with many such examples, wherein God has been showing his mercy by looking after our families, yogam and kshemam. God promised in the above Sloka 9-22 that for the devotees who worship him with utmost devotion, he would give what is not with the devotee, that is yogam, and God would protect what is possessed by the devotee, that is kshemam. He did this both for me and my family. I didn't have any financial background either by myself, from my parents, or from my in-laws. I was awarded merit scholarship from my high school stage. Without the merit scholarship, it would not have been possible for me to go for higher education beyond SSLC, and I would not have become an engineer. All my three children became engineers, two of them getting admission in IITs and one in NIT, Warangal. When I could not afford to send any one of my single children to any one of the private engineering colleges, later all three of them, that is my children, went to USA for higher education and scholarships when I was not even in a position to pay for their flight tickets. They are all well settled in their life now. I joined the DRDO as SSA, Senior Scientific Assistant, in 1968 and retired as Director 2 in 2006 after 37 and a half years of service. God has been the best bet I have experienced throughout my life. I am in the habit of praying God as under Tumeva Mata Pita Tvameva, Tumeva Bandhu Sakha Tvameva, Tumeva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva, Tumeva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. God has been my father, God has been my mother, God has been my relative, God has been my friend, God has been my education, wealth, and above all, he has been everything for me and my wife and my family too. By his grace, we both, myself and my wife, attained Jivan Mukti, and we also wrote books on Bhagavad Gita, which earned laurels for both of us from friends, colleagues, gurus, pandits, and public at large. All this is proof of having both the benefits of the Sloka 9-22 of the Bhagavad Gita in our case. Myself, my wife, and my family. Hari Om. Next question, somebody is asking, who were the translators of Bhagavad Gita in other languages? My answer is, browse the following site for details on your own question. Bhagavad Gita Wikipedia. Myself and my wife authored the Bhagavad Gita entitled Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mukti Sopanamu Tatparishartha Vyakhyaanamu by Dr. Vuddeshavakesham, published in Telugu in 2011. You can browse the following links for further details regarding the same. Display the titled book, Srimad Bhagavad Gita e-book PDF, Gitamritam PDF. There are a number of authors who translated the sacred text of the Bhagavad Gita into the other languages of the world. Who are the translators of the Bhagavad Gita in other languages? This is answer is being provided by Southfield. Bhagavad Gita has multitude of commentaries in Sanskrit and other various Indian languages since millennia. About English translation, according to Wikipedia, the Bhagavad Gita was first translated in English in the year 1785 by Charles Wilkins on the orders of the Court of Directors of the East India Company, with special interest shown by Warren Hastings, the then Governor General of India. This edition had an introduction to the Gita by Warren Hastings. Soon the work was translated into other European languages such as German, French, and Russian. In 1899, The Vedian Mission Press, Bangalore, published the Bhagavad Gita, or dialogues of Krishna and Arjuna, in 18 lectures with Sanskrit, Canaries, and English in parallel columns, edited by Revered John Garrett, and the efforts being supported by Sir Mark Cubbon. It remains a popular text for commentators belonging to various philosophical schools. However, its composite nature also leads to varying interpretations of the text. In the words of Mysore, Haryana, the Gita is one of the hardest books to interpret, which accounts for the numerous commentaries on it, each differing from the rest in one essential point of the order. Richard H. Davies cites Calaveras and Hamer's 1982 count of 1891 Bhagavad Gita translations in 75 languages, including 273 in English. So you can see 1891 translations are there in 75 languages. Out of them, 273 are in English. So, my dear friend, you see how great is Bhagavad Gita. Next question is, did Lord Krishna give knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to the sun god? My answer is, in Shloka 4-1 of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, Imam vivasvate yogam praktavanaham avyayam vivasman manave praha manurikshvakave praveet. That is 4-1. The meaning of the above shloka is as follows. I told about this imperishable yogam to Vivasvat, sun god, in the past. Vivasvat told this to Manu. Manu told this to his son Ikshvaku. From the above shloka, it is very clear that God told this to the sun god in the beginning, and from whom it was told to the king Manu, and from him to his son Ikshvaku. That was how the yoga got spread, by descending from one king to another. But after Parashurama annihilated the race of kings by invading them 21 times, the entire Kshatriya clans got completely annihilated. And there were no kings to practice this yogam, and hence it withered away with passage of time until Lord Krishna told this yogam to Arjuna again during the Kurukshetra war. So from the above, it is very clear that God told this yogam to the sun god in the beginning itself. Hari Om. Next question. Did Vedas exist before the Bhagavad Gita? If so, who is the actual author of Vedas? My answer is, Vedas existed even before the Bhagavad Gita. The Vedas were the first scriptures gifted to the humanity by God Almighty. They were being conveyed from generation to generation through the word of mouth until the scripts were developed to record and preserve them to posterity. Vedas were not the creation of any human beings. They were apaurishayas, meaning that they were not written by the humanity. They were created by the God and handed over to the humanity. So, author of the Vedas is God himself, and they were created much more earlier than the Bhagavad Gita. Next question. Other than Bhagavad Gita, what are the other books that will help me understand Sri Krishna? My answer is, to understand Lord Sri Krishna, you have to read essentially the 10th Skandha chapter of Bhagavatam as a priority. Over and above that, you can read the Mahabharata, Sri Krishna Karmanamritam, etc. Browse the following link in Google for more information on Lord Sri Krishna from the Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. Hari Om. Next question. Somebody is asking, what is chapter 13 in the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, Lord Krishna told in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita about the 8-folded creation of the nature, namely the earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intellect, and ego of the apara prakriti. But God told
హరి ఓం, మీరు మ్యూట్ లో ఉన్నారండి.
ఏమవుతుంది?
లేదు లేదు, మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు బాగానే వచ్చింది.
నేను
మళ్ళీ మ్యూట్ లోకి వెళ్ళారు మళ్ళీ. ఇప్పుడు బాగుందండి.
నేను వై మై ఫిగర్ ఇస్ నాట్ బీయింగ్ సీన్.
ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళీ కనబడుతుందండి. ఇందాక తెలియదు, ఇప్పుడు మళ్ళీ కనబడుతుందా?
I don't know. I am not able to see my image.
Oh, I can see.
No, you have done a lot of changes which are giving problem, Venkatatnam.
No, I can see.
Should I continue?
Yeah, please.
God told that this apara prakriti is of the least importance because this is the root cause of the inanimate world. However, he also told about the animate and vital nature of the para prakriti, which is of utmost importance in this world and of particular significance to the human beings. By virtue of these two, para and apara prakritis, God is playing the game of creation, sustenance, and destruction. Or in other words, God very categorically told that he is the root cause of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the world at large. This is seen in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as told by the Lord Sri Krishna to Arjuna. Later, in the 11th chapter, God made Arjuna to realize that this world is a God and God means the world, and that there is no difference between the two, that is God and world. Thus God very categorically and clearly established the commonality between the world and the God. Or in other words, the indistinguishable nature of the individual and the world was very clearly established in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita by showing Viswarupam. Similarly, God dwelt in the first 6 chapters, that is first Shatkam of the Bhagavad Gita, about the nature of the duty or karma of the individual and how it should be done by the humanity. The next 6 chapters, that is 7 to 12, that is second Shatkam, God told about the various details of devotion and dedication of the human being to the God, that is the details of dharma of the devotees pursuing the route of devotion is explained in the second Shatkam, that is chapter 7 to 12. In the next 6 chapters, that is 13th to 18th, that is third Shatkam, God told about the details of jnanam to be practiced and possessed by the human beings. In the third Shatkam, starting from the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, God told us to how the devotees look like having attained the jnanam, how they behave, and how they become dear to the God. God told in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita about the distinguishing features between the Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, Jnaya. The above are the details of the contents in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. All this material covered in the 13th chapter is of a very high order, and its contents are meant for those who are very much interested and are excited about the God. The subtle and the in-depth details of the God can be found from the 13th to the 18th chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. The 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. This signifies the division or shifting of the chaff from the grains. I cannot describe in mere words the importance and significance of the contents in chapters 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. The first 12 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita help in understanding the milking of the cow, boiling of the milk, curdling and churning. The butter, ghee, and the taste of the milk and its products are seen in the last 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, called as the Jnana Shatkam, commencing from the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and ending with the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Read, understand, and enjoy the weekends by spending yourself useful time with the Bhagavad Gita. Fortify your life. God bless you. Hari Om. Next question, somebody is asking, should a college student read the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, the answer to this question was given earlier and someone asked the same question, but this is an updated answer now. My answer is, it is during college days only one should read Bhagavad Gita. Reading of the Bhagavad Gita in life fills the gaps of learning that are left out in the academic curriculum. How do you develop your personality is learned by reading the Bhagavad Gita. This is not taught in the academic lessons of the high school, college, or university. If you read Bhagavad Gita, you don't have to take special training on personality development, soft skills, development of leadership qualities, etc. You develop your own personality, which gets you a ladder to ascend in life. How to develop leadership qualities you learned by reading the Bhagavad Gita. This is not part of the academic lessons taught in the classroom. But unless you yourself possess leadership qualities, how can you lead any organization to success? This is taught in the Bhagavad Gita. Discipline and commitment are the hallmarks and essential ingredients to the success of an individual or the organization. How they can be inculcated in ourselves is taught by the Bhagavad Gita. They are not taught in the classroom. How to promote collaboration and cooperation among different groups of colleagues belonging to different regions and religions is all taught by the Bhagavad Gita. This is not taught as part of your lessons in the college. How to bring out the latent talents in you and your families, colleagues, and fellow human beings is taught by the Bhagavad Gita. If you are not learning them by reading the Bhagavad Gita while being a student, you will be missing a lot in life and you will have to regret leisurely later in life. Bhagavad Gita teaches you the art of developing harmonious and dynamic human relations, which would help you to avoid conflicts and confrontation. Development of the qualities of vision, commitment, determination, integrity, empathy, professional productivity, harmony, planning ability, conquering adversities, developing single-minded devotion, self-control, elimination of impure thought, discarding disorders of ill health, logical thinking, elimination of fear and anxiety, etc., are all possible by the reading of the Bhagavad Gita during student life. Reading of the Bhagavad Gita late in life is not as useful as it is in the student life. It is like thinking of marrying in late 60s. Bhagavad Gita must be compulsorily read and studied by the students during student life itself, because they, schools or colleges, are not teaching the same as a part of the curriculum, because some sections of the society are opposing its teaching in the schools and colleges on the ground that it is a religious book, which is not true. By being a scientist by profession and being the author of the Bhagavad Gita book, I am emphatically denying that Bhagavad Gita is not a religious book. It is a non-religious book, giving the principles of life for all the humans, irrespective of region, religion, country, and continent. So I advise the students community to buy a copy of the Bhagavad Gita today itself and keep reading to learn the art of living life. If you know Telugu, buy the Bhagavad Gita written by Dr. Uday Shivakeshavam, entitled Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mukti Sopanamu Tatparya Sahita Vyakhyaanamu by Dr. Uday Shivakeshavam. That is myself. Those of you who know Sanskrit, by Odardha Deepika, written by Madhusudana Saraswati Swami. Those of you who know only English can buy the Bhagavad Gita written by Shivananda Saraswati Swami. Others can buy Vitamakarandam written by Vidya Prakashanandagiri Swami. This book is available in 5 languages, including English and Hindi. All the above authors are God blessed, and I advise you not to buy from other authors. Harivu. Next question. What have you learned from Bhagavad Gita in your life? Somebody is asking. The answer is, this is originally answered under some other question. What did you get by reading the Bhagavad Gita? I am giving my answer again. My answer is, I am a scientist by profession. Some questions daunted me in life. I did not get satisfactory answers to my questions. For about 10 years, I was in search of a guru who would provide some insight into my doubts. After 10 years of sustained search, I got the guru who could dispel my daunting doubts. All the doubts I could not get clarified in my life earlier are found to be explained in the Bhagavad Gita without any ambiguity, in a very convincing way, from my gurus and Guru Sampradaya. By the grace of God, myself and my wife got liberated and we were granted Jivan Mukti. So, after we got liberated, we wrote a unique commentary on the Bhagavad Gita for the benefit of the mankind. My book is entitled Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mukti Sopanamu Tatparya Sahita Vyakhyaanamu, authored by Dr. Uday Shivakeshavam in Telugu language, and is being well received by the public, scholars, sannyasis, pandits, and even intellectuals. It is available with me. The copy can be glanced through with the link below, Srimad Bhagavad Gita e-book PDF. This contains only the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. For the full book, please consult the next link. Display the titled book. I recently published another book entitled Gitamritam, written by my enlightened wife for the benefit of the public, a summary of important principles to be followed in the practice of the Bhagavad Gita. That is given below for the devotees for browsing. Gitamritam.pdf. My contact details are 6300226286 and 944118916. Only by WhatsApp messages only. No calls, please. Hariom. Bhagavad Gita has clarified all my doubts, and now I know how the God is running this world. Anyone reading, understanding, and practicing the Bhagavad Gita would also similarly learn all the secrets of how this world, which is being run by the God. So do read the Bhagavad Gita written by me, and I get a copy of the same by following the procedure given above. Next question. Somebody is asking, what are the benefits of a Bhagavad Gita donation? Is there any flip side to donating the Gita? My answer is, donation of the Bhagavad Gita is equivalent to giving the highest of donations in life. The Bhagavad Gita is the world's constitution and is the life's treatise. It is not a religious book, but it contains all moral principles required for a civilized human life. By donating a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, we are helping the acceptor, that is the donee, an easy facility to indulge in introspection and to amend his or her lifestyle if there are any aberrations that had crept into the actor's life, that is donee's life, inadvertently. The donation of the Bhagavad Gita is considered equivalent to the donation of something of very high level. Donation of the Bhagavad Gita is called as Gajadanam by Sadguru Maharshi Madhyala Swami. That means the donation of Bhagavad Gita is equivalent to donating an elephant to the donee. There are no flip side motives in the donation of the Bhagavad Gita. The questioner should clearly understand that the lovers of the Bhagavad Gita are not interested in cheap propaganda. In fact, the author of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Sri Krishna, being God himself, has advised against preaching of the contents of the Bhagavad Gita to non-believers. Further, after preaching all the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Lord Sri Krishna did not persuade Arjuna to act in any way, but left it, that is the final decision, to Arjuna himself by saying, Idechasi tadha kuru. This he told in Sloka 18-63, which means, you do as you wish, in the final decision, which shows that the Bhagavad Gita is not expected to be rammed across the throat of anybody. Reading and practicing the Bhagavad Gita is purely 100% voluntary, no compulsions, no flip sides in its donation. Next question, somebody is asking, which is the best Bhagavad Gita book in Telugu to better understand it? My answer is Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mukti Sopanamu Tatparya Saita Vyakhyanamu by Dr. Woodday Sivakesham, written in Telugu, is the best book for its understanding. Next question. What are some Advaita slokas from the Bhagavad Gita? My answer is the first sloka that comes to my mind when we speak of Advaita slokas is 10-37, wherein Lord Krishna told that first person, second person, and even the third person, all the three persons referred to in the same sloka 10-37 are represented by himself, God. Sloka 10-37 reads as follows. Vrishinam Vasudevosmi Pandavanam Dhananjaya Muninam Apyaham Yataha Kavinam Ushina Kaviti. This is sloka 10-37. The meaning of the above sloka is as follows. I am the person Vasudeva belonging to the Vrishni Vamsham. First person, as the sloka was spoken by Lord Sri Krishna himself, so he becomes the first person. I am the middleman among the Pandavas, that is the second person. As Lord Krishna was speaking to Arjuna in this sloka, Arjuna becomes the second person. I am the sage Vyasa among the Munis, and I am the poet Sukracharya among the poets, that is third person. As both Vyasa and Sukracharya are away from the scene, and therefore they represent the third person in this sloka 10-37. From the above, it could be very clearly seen that all the three persons referred to in this sloka are attributed to a single person. This clearly shows that in all the people referred in this sloka, it is only Lord Krishna who is present. Hence, it is a classic example of Advaita philosophy. Similarly, in sloka 9-17 of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna told that he is the father of the world, he is the mother of the world, he is the sustainer of the world. This is another example of Advaita slokas. Lord Krishna further says in sloka 9-16 that he is everything in the homam, that is Havana. In sloka 9-19, Lord Krishna says that he is the nectar, death, Sat, that is real, and Asat, that is unreal. Like this, there are many slokas throughout the Bhagavad Gita highlighting the principles of Advaita. Look at the above slokas of the 9th chapter as below. Aham kraturaham yajnah swadaham aham aushadham mantroham ahame vajyam mahamagni bhutam. This is sloka 9-16. God, I am the kratu, I am the yajna, I am the offering, food to the meals, I am the medicinal herb and all the plants, I am the mantra, I am also the ghee or melted butter, I am the fire, I am the oblation. Pitamahasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vyajyam pavitra monkara ruksama yadurevachat. This is sloka 9-17. The meaning is, I am the father of this world, the mother, the dispenser of the fruits of action, and the grandfather, the one thing to be known, the purifier, the sacred monosyllable Om, and also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajurvedas. Next is sloka 9-18. Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasam Haranam Suhur Prabhava Pralayasthanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyam. That is Sloka 9-18. The meaning of the Sloka is, I am the goal, the support, the Lord, the witness, the abode, the shelter, the friend, the origin, the dissolution, the foundation, the treasure house, and the imperishable seed. Next sloka is 9-19. Tapamyaham varsham nigduhnam mritsridamita amtanchaiva mrityucha sadasatyaham arjuna. That is 9-19. The meaning is, as the sun I give heat, I withhold and send forth the rain, and immortality and also death, existence and non-existence, O Arjuna. Thus, there is God all over in this world. There is nothing but God in the entire universe. This is all Advaita. Now, next question is, what is the difference between Srimad Bhagavat and Bhagavad Gita? My answer is, I have answered earlier this question. What is the difference between Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita? However, I am again answering this question because another person has asked. My answer is, Sage Vyasa wrote all the 18 Puranas, Mahabharata, including Bhagavad Gita, within the Mahabharata, but was not happy in spite of doing such a colossal work. Sage Vyasa confided this fact with the sage Narada Mahamuni. Then it was sage Narada Mahamuni who suggested to the sage Vyasa that though he did a colossal amount of work in writing the scriptures, Vyasa had not written any scriptural text eulogizing the stories of Lord Sri Mahavishnu, who is the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of this universe. That was the prime reason for sage Vyasa to be unhappy in spite of such colossal amount of work involving the scriptural writings. It was then, at the instance of sage Narada Mahamuni, sage Vyasa wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam consists of 12 chapters called as Khandas, which primarily describes about the stories encompassing the incarnations of Lord Sri Mahavishnu. This is the greatest scripture to know about all the incarnations of Lord Sri Mahavishnu. The 10th chapter, that is the 10th skanda of Srimad Bhagavatam, describes the stories related to Lord Sri Krishna exclusively in the greatest details. Srimad Bhagavat, also known as Bhagavad Purana, is one of the greatest Puranas in Hinduism. It is the most sacred book of Hindus and is highly revered by the devotees of Lord Vishnu. It is a book about Narayana, his avatar, and detailed account of Lord Sri Krishna. Written by Rishi Vyasa, the book consists of 18,000 slokas, which are presented in 12 cantos, that is skandhas. It is believed that Sukamahamuni, son of sage Vyasa, narrated Bhagavad Purana during the Sarpayag performed by King Parikshit, grandson of Arjuna and son of Abhimanyu. This ancient book is comprised of Mahabharata, Krishna Avatar, Ramayana, Rama Avatar, Narsimha Avatar of Lord Sri Vishnu, among other avatars. How many chapters Srimad Bhagavad contains? Bhagavad Purana consists of 12 books, that is Kandas, with 332 chapters, Adhyayas. There are between 16,000 to 18,000 verses or slokas, depending on the recension. Any Hindu devotee must read this book because it contains the creation of this world, its sustenance, and also its destruction. The Bhagavad Gita, on the other hand, is the quintessence of all the four Vedas, 18 Puranas, 9 Vyakaranas, and the sum and substance of 1,00,000 slokas of Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita consists of 18 chapters, 700 slokas, and it is the constitution of the universe based on which the God is running this universe systematically, with synchrony, proficiency, efficiency, and very effectively. Real education for a human being is not the acquisition of academic degrees, but the understanding of the principles of Bhagavad Gita and its implementation in real life. Anybody who is understanding and practicing the Bhagavad Gita will attain divinity, salvation, liberation, immortality, mukti, or moksha. God bless everyone who reads these scriptures. Hari Om. So I think we will stop here for today. I will pray the God and end today's preaching. Om Yadakshara Padabhrishtam Matra Hinam Ched Bhavet Tatsarvam Kshamyatam Deva Paramesha Namostute Harihi Om Tat Sat.
అంతా బాగా వచ్చిందండి. ఆ ఒక్క నిమిషం ఏదో ఒక కాన్ఫ్లిక్ట్ వచ్చింది, అంతా బాగా వచ్చిందండి.
ఇదంతా ఏంటో గందరగోళంగా చేసి పెట్టావు. నేను కనపట్టలేదు, నాకు అసలు ఏమి తెలియట్లేదు. మై ఫోన్ ఈజ్ ఐ డోంట్ నో వెదర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ వర్కింగ్ ఆర్ నాట్ వర్కింగ్.
No. Everything is working. I can see you. Everything is getting recorded and voice is full clear.
Not only you see, but I should also see, no?
I agree, sir, but but I mean, I do not.
Why are you doing all these changes? Please don't do all these changes.
No, I did not do any changes. I did not do any changes. No, నేనేం చేయలేదు సార్. అయ్యో, అది ఎందుకైందో తెలియదు.
No. Then you inform that new fellow, why is he doing all this nonsense?
Sure. Some upgrades have come. I will inform them. I will talk to them. Yeah.
No. See, earlier also, you enter the password. After entering the password, he says, identify yourself. Like this. Then I thrashed him. Why are you doing all this nonsense? When I enter the password, you must display. Then he removed that.
Okay. I will check.
Whether you are a robo, whether you are a man, you are more than 18 years, all this nonsense is not required, no?
Yes. I will
you
ask.
Talk to that fellow, you tell him that he is doing all nonsense.
Sure. I'll do that. Yeah. మళ్ళీ మ్యూట్ అయ్యారు మీరు. ఇప్పుడు అన్మ్యూట్ అయ్యారా? Yes, now it is unmuted. Yeah.
No, I am not doing anything. It is on its own. It is behaving irrationally.
Okay.
So I am not doing anything. There is no contribution from my side. Itself is, it has become temperamental. Like human beings, when they get angry, they do something. When they get like that. Anyway, let us call it for a day. Okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Hari Om.